Broadcasting live from the only establishment in town that can't kick him out. His own basement. The world according to Rocket.
Hello, my little huckleberries. It's I, Rocket Man, and I'm glad you are here with me on this very important day. Two things. It's a double header. Tonight at 7 o'clock, the college football playoff team, if you want to call them that, will announce the first tranche of the playoff selections. And seeing as how Tennessee is number 7 right now, Tennessee will be in that group. I don't know where they're going to be, but we shall see. In my early predictions on this thing, I'm not happy, and I'm going to wait and see how it falls out. But I'm going to tell you, I hate this bracket, and I'll tell you why. Because all the good teams like Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia and Texas are all in the lower bracket the way I can figure it. And they're just going to cancel each other out. You know, and that's really pissing me off. But I'm putting the cart before the horse there. We'll see what happens tonight, okay? And I've decided to do a live. I'll do it live, and that'll take us 7 to 8, and we'll have some fun together with that. And then we'll start watching the election results come in, which start typically around 8 o'clock at night when the Eastern polls close. All right. Now, earlier, this is what I did earlier. I spoke about Elon Musk and his interview with Joe Rogan yesterday. And if you haven't seen that, just look at the previous video, and you can see what that is all about. It's about a 60-second thing of Elon Musk talking about why this election is so important. Well, why don't I just play it? Let me just play it for you again, just so you can see what all that's about. Now, then you have a context and a frame of reference.
I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Yeah, exactly.
Tulsi Gabbard switched over to the Republicans.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of people who their whole life they've been left-wing, and they realize, like, I can't do this anymore.
You and I used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, man. If the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states, and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
Has anybody tried to push back?
And I just want to, go out and vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote like your future depends on it, because it does. I'll say it again.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. All right, so, I've believed this for quite a while, and have said it on occasion. It's exactly what the whole illegal immigration, them allowing these illegals by the millions to come into this country so that they can forever change the democratic voting process, right? There will be a Republican Party, but it just will have no teeth, no balls, and might as well not even be there, because it will indeed be like California. And that's what he is saying. And it's me saying one thing. When I was on the radio at my peak, I had 100,000 people a week listening to me. Joe Rogan's podcast, when he had Trump on, the whole 3-hour podcast, 45 million views, right? So when something goes on in this podcast, in Joe Rogan's podcast, it's important. And it is viewed and shapes the minds and thoughts and opinions of so many people. And with Elon Musk coming out and saying that, wow, it is the epitome these two guys, these two dudes, in this moment that we're just witnessing here, is the epitome of social media influence. Now I'm going to play some of this that you need to hear because it is just fucking awesome. Hit it.
Absolutely. And if somebody says it does make a difference, I'm like, how will you measure it? And if you can't even measure it, then it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I won't be able to measure it.
Well, there's so much bullshit out there. First of all,
Yeah, it's bullshit in all directions.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter. Thank
welcome.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. I really do. I really think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control.
Let me just stop for a second and let that sink in. Let that settle in. Joe Rogan is a smart guy. I don't think he's at the same intellect level as Elon Musk, but Joe Rogan is a really smart guy. The way he processes information and disseminates it, right? And he's always self-deprecating about, well, I'm not that smart. I just have an excellent memory, and that's probably true. That's probably true. But he is he's a very smart guy, and I love the way he has framed this by saying, God, thank you so much, Elon, for number one, having the money to buy Twitter X, because it's our last chance at free speech. If Twitter goes down as a country, as a world that embraces free speech, we are so tragically fucked that people will write songs about it in the future. I don't know. I ran out of a metaphor there, but tragically is what we are.
What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like with what they were doing with the laptop story, where you have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation, take it offline, and Twitter complied. If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly. No, it's. I mean, the reason I bought it was because I'm pretty attuned since I was like the most interacted with user on Twitter before the acquisition. So before the acquisition, I had more interactions than like there's some accounts like Obama and whatever had higher follow accounts, but I had the most number of interactions of any account in the system. So I was very attuned to like if they change the system, I can tell immediately. Like, and I'm like something weird is going on here, you know. Like, so there's like I just got increasingly uneasy, and obviously when they deplatformed a sitting president, you know, deplatformed Trump, that was just insane, you know, and the things he was posting, like he was posting things that like he was posting good things. He was saying like, hey, do not riot, don't do any destruction of property, you know. Please stay calm. Like that's the kind of stuff he was posting. And you're like, what's wrong with that? That's and then some people said like, oh, that's like some sort of dog whistle. He means the opposite. I'm like, okay, so we'll give you Trump's account. Now you post what you think you should post because you can post nothing. You can ask people to calm down. Like what? It was insane. Like it didn't make any sense.
Well, it's completely illogical when you say it's dog whistling to tell.
So. And again, I love the way Joe frames it. Says, hey, dude, if you hadn't bought it, none of this would have ever come to light, the Twitter tapes. And if you haven't seen the Twitter tapes and you want to know more about the Twitter tapes, go to Tucker Carlson, and you can watch them over at his Twitter thing, the Tucker Carlson Network, and just to see what all went on with that J6 thing, with the laptop thing, Hunter Biden's laptop thing. It is such a dark, dark place, this deep state thing. And, you know, Donald Trump is a smart guy as well. Donald Trump went into his presidency thinking, well, I'll just get rid of the dark State. I'll just get rid of it. I'm going to clean the swamp, remember? I'm going to drain the swamp, remember? And then what happened to Donald Trump was he got in there and went, holy shit. This isn't a swamp. This is a morass of evil creatures at every turn. And with this morass of creature that he had to fight tooth and nail every day, 24/7. He wasn't equipped to deal with it properly. Why do you think he's equipped now, Rocket Man? I'll tell you exactly why. Because number one, he's been there. This guy, Trump, has dealt with every crooked person in New York State all of his life. And I'll just let you fill in the blanks there. He's in the construction business. All right? You think there might be a little corruption in the construction business in New York City, New York State? Might be a little bit. He knows how to deal with creatures. But when he got in there, all of these creatures were pointing their fangs at him, trying to get him out and trying to sabotage everything that he did, of course, along the way. And, you know, hey, he's not God. He's just a rich dude that has a good heart about this country. And he didn't know exactly how to drain this swamp. Now he has an idea of how to drain this swamp. Because now look who he has in his circle. Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, you know, I said, and Vivek, Ramaswamy, I don't know if I say his name correctly. But I saw a post on Instagram just 10 minutes ago that said, I'm voting for Trump because not only am I getting Trump, but I'm getting 5 other presidents as well. And they're talking about RFK and Elon and you know, the rest of them, Tucker Carlson. You know, they're getting very, very smart individuals who believe in freedom of speech. And they have a sense of fairness about them that the runaway leftist Democrat Party used to have so many, many years. I grew up as a Democrat. I've been in show business all my life, and most of we show business people are selfish and narcissistic and trying to get our names on a billboard in a movie and a record deal somewhere. No. And then all of a sudden, I realized that it just turned. It turned. I will share where and when it turned, maybe in this broadcast or maybe in the next one. But it turned. And it's taken about 15, 16 years for real thinkers, people who value the Constitution and people who value this republic, not this democracy, this republic. And every time I hear these fuckers say something about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, the same people who didn't even elect camel toe through a democratic process. They just said, here, you get in there, go. They cooed the government, stuck her in there. And I think she's going to lose mightily. I really do. That does not mean I think that he will ascend to the throne and be inaugurated, because they are ruthless, evil people that run that Democratic Party. that deep state. And if Donald Trump doesn't win this election, free speech is dead. What does that mean? It means that they get to define what is hate speech. That's how they do it. Well, you can't say that. That's hate speech. No, it's the speech that you don't like that you have to absorb. Right? That's what free speech is. Let's listen more to Elon.
His followers to not be violent. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Don't you think they'll listen to him?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point? They listened to him and created violence in the first place? That's what you think. That's what you're accusing him of.
Right.
And then there's the fact that we know that there was agents in the crowd that were agent provocateurs that were encouraging people to do illegal shit.
Yes.
We know that for a fact. This is not that. It was always the big Alex Jones type tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because Alex proposed that back at the World Trade Organization protests. I believe we're in Seattle in the 90s. And they sent in agent provocateurs, started smashing things, lighting things on fire. Now all of a sudden a peaceful protest is no longer peaceful.
Right.
They move in the cops. They shut everything down. They had it set up where it was a no protest zone, where you couldn't even have a pin that had the WTO with a red line through it. They wouldn't let you go in through to go to work. So you couldn't protest. You couldn't exercise your First Amendment rights. You couldn't even have a peaceful protest, a fucking sticker on your car. You couldn't have that. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So no, I think we're very much at a fork in the road in destiny, I mean, the reason I did the Twitter acquisition was it's like, man, if I don't do this, I think we're screwed. Is the issue?
Well, if you didn't do it, no one else was going to do it because it wasn't a financial winner. It was kind of a crazy move. It's
a crazy move. I mean, the thing was way overpriced, long term, I think we can ultimately make it a win for investors. But boy, this is a hard way to make a living.
Well, there's also a concerted effort to suppress it. There's a concerted effort with the advertisers.
Well, we had and still have a massive advertiser boycott that was organized by a bunch of left-wing NGOs.
So, wow. I mean, this is so fascinating. And we would have never known anything about any of this. Well, that's not true. There are some journalists who were on and sniffing this, but most journalists just turned their head and took their paycheck and did what their bosses told them and reported what their bosses told them to report. Like good little well-paid sheep. Right? And we're all so fortunate, regardless of what side of the aisle that you're on this, that Elon bought Twitter. Or we would have never, ever known any of this. We would have never confirmed any of this. That's what's important. Let me see what else I got for you. There is last night, I don't know whether you follow Megyn Kelly or not, but I'm going to play a little bit of her speech last night at Trump's last night of rallies. He had one rally here in Pittsburgh, and then after this, he had a rally in Michigan. And I just want to play a little bit. I like her so much. And she and Trump, back in the 2016 election, they did not hit it off. They did not hit it off. They were like the mongoose and the cobra. But here she is speaking last night at the Trump rally.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Hi, everybody. Hey, it's great to see you. Can you believe this guy? Can you believe the energy and the stamina on this guy? At his age, I'm ready to go to sleep over there. He's got another rally to go to till tonight.
Let me just stop for a second. This woman is so well-spoken. She is so together. She is so bright. A great attorney as well. But she has such a presence. She was made for this medium. All right. Now, I want to run this back a little bit. I want you to watch something. Here she is, comes out hot as hell. Okay, she looks fantastic. She has this amazing dress on that kind of comes down here and kind of gives you a little peekaboo kind of thing. Well, maybe if you're nice. It's a great dress, isn't it? But watch what happens. She's throwing her hair around. And then all of a sudden, just instinctually, she grabs her hair and pulls it off of the pretty part of the dress so that her hair wouldn't obscure the view. Watch this when she comes up. This is great.
His hate. I'm ready to go to.
Hang on a sec. Here we go.
Hey, it's great to see you. Can you believe this guy? Can you believe the energy and the stamina on this guy? His hate. I'm ready to go to sleep over there. He's got another rally to go to till 2. Let me tell you, first of all, one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, one of the many reasons I wanted to come here. When I launched my show 4 years ago, we had Mark Cuban on the program. You know, yeah. May have seen he was in the news this week. And he started going on about how bad America's race history was and how ashamed he was of America. And that's why he was at all these protests. And he felt it was really important to stand up and speak out about human rights violations. And then it got awkward when I asked him about all the money he was taking from China. And then he dropped a bunch of F-bombs, and I thought, I really enjoy this feeling of proving Mark Cuban wrong. And so here I am at a Trump rally, a strong, intelligent woman to prove Mark Cuban wrong again. I won't take up much of your time.
Megan. That's terrific. That's terrific. She's amazing. And if you haven't checked out her podcast, just hit up YouTube, Megyn Kelly Podcast, and you'll find it. She's on every day, and she is insightful. And I sure would like to take a bath with her. Now, I didn't really say that out loud. That was my inside voice that said that. But she is the shazizzle, in my opinion. Now, a couple things. If you haven't watched this podcast here with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, watch that, right? Watch it. 10 million views. If you haven't watched the Trump podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump, the whole 3 hours thing, watch it. You'll be glad you did. I mean, it's informative. There are some smart people now. Journalism has become it's a new animal now, journalism. Do you know? And that's why I started Nash Rocket Media years ago. And then I, as you know, had some health problems. And I'm just now getting back to it. And I'm taking this election opportunity to get full-throated and get into it because, man, we are close to not being anywhere near the, the city on the hill that we used to be, with all our warts. And fortunately, or unfortunately, the news media has become like TASS, the TASS agency. I remember, and this was decades ago, when I first was on the radio at one of the biggest FM radio stations in the country, FM 100 in Memphis. When I first started, I was a teenager, for crying out loud. And I had a Saturday and Sunday morning shift. And I remember that was back in the days when you had to read your own news. You had to go into the newsroom and pull the AP wire or whatever, and you had this little paper. And I'm just sitting here, and I've got my little paper to do my first broadcast. I'll never, ever forget this, my first little news thing. And I was like this. I was trying to read these frickin' words. I was scared to death. And it was 6:15 in the morning. Nobody's listening except my mom, my dad. And I remember it said the news agency, the Russian news agency TASS says this, and this. I went, what is that? And I had to go ask somebody, one of the newsmen, said, what is the Russian news agency TASS? And they said, oh, well, that's their propaganda arm of the Russian government. I went, oh, Okay. And that's what the news media has become in this country. They have become TOSS or Pravda, right? They disseminate the information for the Democratic Party. Now, that has never happened in my lifetime. It's happened over the past 15, 16 years, right? Slowly, slowly, slowly. And I told you earlier, I alluded to it. This is what it is right here.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
It's amazing. Starting to see it? Starting to get the picture? Is that hazy fantasy kind of thing starting to dissipate? And are you starting to see the reality and the truth of the situation? Fundamentally change the United States of America. What is fundamental to the United States of America? The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, right? Freedom of speech, right to bear arms. And you know, when I saw that, that's when I no longer was a Democrat. When I saw him speak those words, I'm going, what in the holy fuck are you talking about? You're going to fundamentally change the country? Who are you, you arrogant... That was a C word right there, by the way. That you are going to take it upon yourself to fundamentally transform the United States of America. What does that mean? I don't know. The world's topsy-turvy. It's upside down. Men aren't women. Women aren't men. Let's hate Christians. Hey, I know. Let's let 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old children decide whether or not they're a boy or a girl. Let's do that. No, that's not good enough. Let's let men play in women's sports. Yeah. That's transformative. The left has lost their mind. Literally. Now, I'm not talking everybody that follows the left. They're just sheep. And if that's you, you need to change how you process and investigate this information and how you formed your opinions. The leftist leaders in this country are diabolical, and they don't give a rat's ass about you. That's all this has been since Biden, since Kamala. They don't care who it is. They're going to run the show anyway from behind the scenes. Now then, let's look back at the past 16 years. The only person that has been in the White House that's not ascribed to that theory is Donald Trump. He don't play along with that. And they know it, and that's why they hate him. That's why they hate him. Not because he had an orange tan at one time. Not because he made a few off-color locker room comments that I make every day on this show. But because he understands that they are diabolical individuals that are running the government deep down in the bowels of this deep state thing. And if we don't clear it out, we're not going to have a country anymore. And that's why this is, as Elon says, our last hope. Because if we don't get it done today, if we don't get it done in this election, wow, we're fucked.